Okay, so today I want to talk about quality of work. Now, I've done this work in the field a long time. I've rarely ever had a garage to do work in. This is my girlfriend's barn that we're doing this in. Is it clean? It's as clean as I can get it. But that doesn't matter. You can consider this a field repair. But what I'm getting at is, no matter if I'm doing this in the field or here or wherever, it's got to be to the utmost standard. I don't cut corners. I will not cut corners. I will not work for somebody if they want me to cut corners, because at the end of the day, my name is on that. And when them wanting to cut corners results in them having their truck broke down and possibly losing their business, which could happen in a situation like this, I'm not going to be responsible for it. So let me give you an update, show you the block so you guys can see what we got going on. Okay, so again, working in this old barn, yeah, I've got it cleaned up pretty good. It's got crap scattered everywhere right now for me. But when I leave at night, I shrink wrap this entire engine. Big old roll of shrink wrap back there that you can get it. I think I got mine at Home Depot, whatever. But anyhow, this whole motor gets shrink wrapped. Once it's shrink wrapped, then I put the bag that it came in over it. And so this is the Cat reman block. Very nice. The cylinder bores are excellent. In the video it looks like there's rust on there, but it's not. That's oil. But anyhow, as you can see, we've got the pistons in it, new piston rings and everything. Obviously, the only thing we've reused in this entire engine are the connecting rods, the crank, and the cam. The cam was in great shape. The crank was in good shape. The cam was in good shape. Connecting rods were fine. So we got the assembly lube on there. Now I torque stripe everything that gets torqued. You can see even this idler, I torque stripe it. And then if you go under here, you can see I got two different color torque stripes on there. The orange tells me that I torqued it to foot-pounds, and then these get torqued at an angle also. And the green tells me that I did the angle. So I got the mains and the rods all striped, because my phone rings quite a bit, and it's very easy to walk away and forget you didn't tighten something. I will not pick up the phone. I will not do anything until I make sure I put that stripe on there. If I did it. If I didn't do it, it doesn't get the stripe. Little things like that is the quality you need to look for in someone or in yourself when you're doing something like this. If this freaking motor blows up because of something I did, there's a damn good chance this guy's business will be done. He's putting a ton of money into this. We are on a budget, but we're doing it like we have no budget. If that makes sense. It really doesn't the way I said it, but that's okay. Anyhow, we got the oil pan getting ready to go on. I even cleaned every individual bolt. Those are all the oil pan bolts. They're clean, ready to go back in. Again, quality. And when that's on, when the front cover's on, when the oil cooler's on, I'll take and spray it with Caterpillar Yellow. Do I have to? No, but it gives it a better look for the customer, and I'll tell you the other reason why. Another guy taught me this a long time ago. Why take the time to torque stripe everything and go as far as even spraying, Caterpillar Yellow on it? Well, because the trick an old mechanic taught me is, if you're into a motor that deep, or building a motor like this, and you have an oil leak, and you put the old crusty ass pan back on it, and the nasty cover and whatever, and you have something go wrong, it's a lot harder to find that leak. If everything's nice and clean, it's, first of all, when you do your inspection after you start the vehicle up, and you re-inspect everything for the 100th time like you should, you're gonna see the leak because everything's clean. Oil or fuel or anything's gonna show up real easy. So that's the biggest reason why to do it. But the The other reason is it just makes it look better. This guy's spending a ton of money on this engine. So when he shows up to pick this truck up and I pop the hood for him, I want him to look at it and think that, you know, is it pretty? Yeah. But, you know, it's done right, but it should look nice. There's no reason not to. And am I going to charge him for the $5 or $10 can of paint from Caterpillar? No. I'm going to eat that. Why? Because that's just how I feel about it. I take pride in it. So, you know, and I learned that a long time ago. You know, especially when I was working on these things. I had a fleet of these I was working on for a patient transport company. And I bought this one off of them to use as a service truck. But, you know, they had, this was the only 7.3. All the rest were 6 liters. We had 300,000 miles on them. Original injectors, head gaskets, everything. Because I did stuff my way. And they understood that. Because, you know, they were, at the time they had these, they've upgraded now. They bought all brand new Ford, what do you call those things? My arm's getting tired. The Transit, yeah, the Ford Transit van. I don't know, because I'm not going to work on it. It's got spark plugs. But when they had these old units, they were just getting started. When these things would go down, they would lose their mind because, I mean, they could end their career. In their investment, not their career, but in their huge investment. Well, after, I think they had these for about 2 or 3 years, maybe longer, and I worked on them the whole time. Guess what? Now they've got a ton of these new ones. They're making a fortune, and I'm happy. You know, I got paid, but none of these left before I signed off and told them they could have it back. Just the way it is. And if they didn't like it, find somebody else to do your work, because God forbid somebody would die in that thing. And you know, what are the risk? And I hate this. I'm gonna get into something else now. I'm gonna get into it. The risk of a patient transport ambulance having to go lights and sirens, very low. Look at the dog back here. So very low. But I got ADD today. But if they do have to, it's got to go. You know, this one here is a 97 7.3, 208,000 miles on it. If you look at the hour meter, it's more like 400,000 miles, because it was a village ambulance first. You know, these guys would take this thing and go into, well, Skyline Chili here in Cincinnati area. Most of you don't know what that is. Go in to eat somewhere like that in town, and they'd leave it run the whole damn time they were in there, or be on an accident scene or whatever. That's, you know, anybody in this knows idle time. That's the worst thing you can do, and that's what happened to this truck in here. A lot of idle time. So, anyhow, I see a lot of guys working on these patient transport ambulances that cut corners or don't do top-notch work because they figure it's just taking somebody from point A to point B. Well, a lot of these patients are critical. I mean, they could go at any time. And so this was treated, when I worked on all these, they were treated as if they were going lights and sirens every time. And that's the same thing I'm do with that or anything else I work on, somebody's personal truck, anything. I work on a lot of people's vehicles that are, I don't get a lot of flashy trucks. I get a lot of work trucks. And so their business depends on that vehicle running. And owning a trucking company myself, I know, you know, if that truck doesn't go, I'm losing a bunch of money. But I got news for you. It's not leaving the shop till it's right, because if it breaks down 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away, I've just lost a shit ton more money. I don't think you can say that on here. I don't know. But anyhow, I got to get back to work. I don't know if I've ever said, but this isn't my full-time job. It was at one time, but a man needs benefits in retirement. So I'm a bus mechanic. I've got my 40 hours in. It's Friday. I'm ready to get some hours knocked out on this thing, go home, drink some beer, then get back here this weekend and put in a bunch of hours on it and get it done, but get it done right. And that's the most important thing. Do it right, whether it's something you're building for yourself or you're doing for a customer. Do it right.